Welcome back. South African Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan has stated that he would not appear before the police for questioning. The elite police unit summoned the minister to answer questions of an alleged rogue spy unit that was set up at the country's tax collection agency when he headed it up between 1999 and 2009. Mr. Gordhan says the allegations are wholly unfounded. Some believe the finance minister is being pursued for political reasons. Respected lawyer George Bissos addressed journalists alongside former Constitutional Court Judge Johan Kriegler.
Suffice it to say, they advise that the alleged charges are wholly unfounded. I therefore do not intend to present myself for a warning statement for many considerations, both legal and given my other commitments. I remain committed to assist the Hawks in any bona fide investigation as stated in my statement. I have a job to do in a difficult economic environment and serve South Africa as best I can.
This is an exercise in humiliation and in persecution. If it were a genuine pursuit of a criminal case, they could long since have done so. He's given them everything in writing. Don't let them mislead you to think that this is the pursuit of lawful investigation. They know the facts.
Well, back here in Nigeria, the former governor of the central bank, Muhammadu Sanusi, says the government needs to do more on the state of the economy. Mr. Sanusi, who's now the emir of Kano, wants the government to focus on diversifying the economy and encouraging proper investment. He adds that a system that allows you to sit in your garden with a telephone and make R1 billion without any investment is wrong and unsustainable. Nigeria's economy is contracting at the moment due to the fall in oil price. Oil output is also down due to a rise in militant activity in the country's oil-producing area. President Buhari has spoken about the need to diversify the economy away from its reliance on oil. The UN's children agency, UNICEF, has warned that nearly 500,000 children around Lake Chad are likely to suffer severe acute malnutrition. This is due to drought and a 7-year insurgency by Islamic militant group Boko Haram in northeast Nigeria.
The United Nations Children's Fund says that nearly 500,000 children around Lake Chad are likely to suffer severe acute malnutrition due to drought and a 7-year insurgency by Islamist militant group Boko Haram in northeast Nigeria. Of that number, 49,000 people in Nigeria's Borno state, Boko Haram's heartland, will die this year if they do not receive treatment, according to the United Nations Child Agency, which is appealing for $308 million to cope with the crisis. However, to date, UNICEF said it had only received $41 million, 13% of what it needs to help those affected in the 4 countries, Chad, Nigeria, Niger, and Cameroon, that border Lake Chad. At the start of 2015, Boko Haram occupied an area the size of Belgium, but has been pushed back over the last 18 months by military assaults by the 4 countries. Most of its remaining forces are now hiding in the wilds of the vast Sambisa forest, southeast of the Borno provincial capital, Maiduguri. UNICEF said that as Nigerian forces captured and secured territory, aid officials were starting to piece together the scale of the humanitarian disaster left behind in the group's wake.
The unfolding situation in northeast Nigeria, where the advancing military campaign by government forces together with the multinational joint task force against Boko Haram has in recent weeks been exposing a catastrophic situation with incredible suffering among the population.
In Borno, nearly 2/3 of hospitals and clinics had been partially or completely destroyed, and 3/4 of water and sanitation facilities needed to be rehabilitated. Despite the military gains, 2.2 million people remain trapped in areas under the control of Boko Haram, which is trying to establish a medieval caliphate in the southern reaches of the Sahara.
Many of the displaced are women, children, the elderly. There are urgent needs pretty much wherever we're looking. We've seen adults so exhausted they're unable to move, children with swollen faces, hollow eyes, other clear indications of acute malnutrition.
Militants are thought to have killed as many as 15,000 people since the launch of their armed campaign in 2009. Responding to its battlefield setbacks, Boko Haram has turned to suicide bombings, many involving children. UNICEF said it had recorded 38 cases of child suicide bombings so far this year, against 44 in the whole of 2015 and just 4 the year before that.
Nobel laureate Professor Wole Soyinka is challenging the president to be more proactive in dealing with the problems of the Niger Delta region. Professor Soyinka, in a press briefing in Lagos, asked the federal government to move swiftly and deal with the issues affecting the country.
I wish to make an appeal to the government to respond positively to the outreach from the militant groups. That is a request which has been made by some of the groups who got me into this interventionist role in the first place. At the moment, they feel that the government of General Buhari, President Buhari, I should say, is not seriously responding to their own outreach. And I wish to make a personal appeal to the government to respond positively. And let us see where it ends us. I make that appeal once more to the government. Please respond to the efforts of these militant groups to arrive at a holistic and comprehensive solution. It is in the mind that the war for peace must begin. And I always find that rather paradoxical statement very, very instructive. But we mustn't simplify wars. Since we cannot simplify the causes, the complex causes that lead to war. Boko Haram, for instance, which you talk about, is the result of religious lunacy and intoxication. There's no other explanation for it. And if somebody's trying to kill you, I believe you have a responsibility to kill them first. That's responsibility to yourself. Intervention in people's lives, dictatorship, whether from the state or from the civil society, any form of dictatorship, the kind represented by Daesh, ISIS, so-called ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Al-Shabaab, Answardine, people who invade a community and go straight for their treasures, their intellectual heritage. People like that, I believe, are subhuman and should be treated as such.
In Benue State, environmentalists and residents in Makurdi are appealing to the state government to create a proper dump site and transfer stations to stop indiscriminate waste disposal in the state capital. Well, the appeal is coming on the heels of discussion between the state government and a German firm to convert the huge waste materials into biogas for power generation.
This is the Shire Bakut Way, one of the major streets of Makurdi, Benue State, with waste disposed indiscriminately. Residents point accusing fingers at the Benue State Environmental Sanitation Agency, Bensesa, for the mess.
It's Benue State Sanitation Environmental, Bensesa. They used to pour this dirty here every day, and the thing has been affecting us since.
I see I see their vehicle and their workers. They come around to pour this waste here, and I know very well that this is illegal, and the government is not doing anything on it.
Just minutes after, a waste disposal truck belonging to Bensesa arrives on the scene and discharges its contents on the already clogged waste site. Efforts to see the general manager of Bensesa, the agency's office, prove abortive, but we find an aide to the state government who was out on the streets digging up blocked drainages.
Well, coming up after the break, 2 photographers in Egypt launch the ballerinas of Cairo. Do stay with us.